Before I start our segment today for the race officials presentation, I would like to acknowledge the Burrong people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional landowners and custodian of this land. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present and emerging. Joining us on this video call with Riccardo, we have Stephen Orlick, the PRO for South Melbourne. We have Peter Osborne, the Deputy PRO for South Melbourne, and then Australian Sailing staff is Nadine in the background, and myself, Leslie Vasala. I would like to introduce Riccardo, who has been kindly to join us this morning in Australian time to sort of give us an overview of what he does and world sailing, and also the importance of volunteers. I'll just do a little quick intro of Riccardo's background. I'm going to do a really short snippet, and he has many accolades under his name and volunteer positions that he holds. But currently, Riccardo is the current chair of the Race Officials Committee for World Sailing, was the field of play manager at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. He has served as a technical delegate at several regional games, including the 2019 Pan Am Games, a role he will reprise in 2023, and also he was appointed in February this year, his first Olympic Games technical delegate, that he'll be holding this position. So welcome, Riccardo, and thank you for joining us. I'll now hand you over to Steve Orlick to have a chat with you. Thank you.
Look, thanks, Leslie, and Riccardo, again, thank you very much for your time. There's so much to talk about. You've got a myriad of experience, and I'd love to hear a little bit about how you actually got to this role, and being chair of race officials, and it's a pretty special thing to be doing, and obviously well regarded by your peers to be thrust this position on you. So congratulations there, and of course I think culminating with this technical delegate position in 24. So your background, just a little, Riccardo. Where did you start doing your race official work? What were you actually first off, and what got you going?
Yes, I was a competitor, a sailor. I was very happy. It was 25 years ago, and then suddenly in my club there was a world championship, and then the race officer in charge of could not, and then the commodore of the club asked me, Riccardo, why not? And then I jumped as an assistant, and then I realized that the sport had another way for me, not only to be a competitor. And then I started a local race officer career, and then national, and then international. It was about 20,000 that I got the international level, and then since that I am on the way.
Yeah. So how many years then you've been doing it in total?
As a race officer, 38 years at this, 28 years at this moment, and 22 as international in world sailing.
Yeah. And was it mainly the junior classes you got involved in first, or were you seniors?
No, I started, at the time I started, we did not have many junior classes in Brazil, so I started with Ilcas. At that time I was 13, 14, and then I moved to monohulls, snipes, and etc. And then I ended with catamarans, tornado sailor for 15 years. I ran 2 Olympic campaigns, but I did not go to the Olympics as a sailor or a competitor. And then some offshore boats. That was the summary. But I never raced youth classes. It was a pity because they are very nice classes.
Yeah. So currently now, you get to travel around the world. Where have you been this year? What do you?
This is a difficult question. Yes, as I am a race officer and also technical delegate, I had this year some travels. South America countries like Paraguay for games, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Swiss, Spain, France, Morocco, Mozambique, very interesting countries. Yes, I think I had 13 to 14 travels. It's a lot, okay. But anyway, we volunteer, and then I'm happy.
And how do you find the level is of officials is different in different places you go? And I mean, your role, I suppose, at various ones of those to make sure it's the highest possible. But do you find that sometimes in different places you struggle with the capabilities of people there, or is it how do you find that?
Yes, we never struggle because, yes, there are some countries where the level is different and also the way they run races. So when we go to a place or a country that we realize that people need some kind of motivation or they need some kind of update, we try to adapt ourselves, okay? And what I see is people running races on a different way. On most of the countries, but level, yes, we have national level, we have international level, no doubt, but we always try to motivate the local people, even when we have a regional game with a very high level. For example, now in Chile, Pan Am Games, 13 classes, 9 Olympic qualifications is a very big event, huge responsibility. We try to motivate the locals, and then at the end they do the job, and then after that it's a legacy, okay, for the country.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I suppose just on that, with looking at the those different levels, do you find that the sailor themselves they're happy with or they're happy with how that everybody is doing their best, I suppose, to provide them what they want for their sailing? But how do you find the people who are getting around the world at these different events? Are they all looking for the highest possible level? And do you have to step in very much at all on that?
Yeah, I see two different levels. Okay, there is one level is the Olympic level or Olympic events where we have professional sailors and coaches and M&As involved. So at this level, yes, we need very high level officials and then some professional. But by the other side, we have many other events where the most important point for the race official is not know all the rules or apply all the procedures. It is to know what our clients, the sailors, what they need, what they want, and thinking as a sailor, thinking as a competitor. I'm not saying that we will follow what they tell us, but we have the race officer or a judge or the race official. The most important point is understand the clients, understand the sailors, the community. So this is the way to provide a good service. And then when I go to a country, to an event where I see that some officials, they are not at the required level, but I see motivation, I see interest, I see them open to learn, it's easy, okay? Because instead of try to pass them all the procedures, all the rules, I try to pass them this message, okay? Look to your clients, look to your sailors, look to your coaches, to the community, and then I try to work, because it's completely different. A youth class than an Olympic class. It's completely different on an offshore race than an optimist race. This is a common mistake I see around the world. I see excellent race officials, but they are at the wrong place. They are at an event that they do not have the profile, or they do not have not the skills, but they would be better at another event. So the most important point is try to adapt yourself as a race official, okay? Understand the event, understand what you are. For example, Sail Melbourne is a very big event, important event, so you need a particular profile, you need skills. It's not the same as if you go, for example, I went one time to African Games in Egypt. So it's completely different. No, the requirements are the same, medals and then M&As, Olympic committees. But you have to understand that Egypt and Egypt officials are not at the same level of other countries. So you must pass this message to the competitors. Okay, we are here to provide the service, you volunteers, we will try our best. And I think when they get the message, they are happy, they understand.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're doing our best for the client, as you say. So that's terrific. And now your role then, you did the 2016 Rio Field of Play Manager. What actually does that entail, the Field of Play Manager?
The organizing committee on each sport has two key positions. The first one is the sport manager, is the person inside the organizing committee responsible for the sport, and the field of play manager. Field of play manager, in theory, would be that person that would prepare the field of play. So in most of sports, is an easy job, simple job, because the field of play is a stadium or something, or a track. But in sailing, our field of play is the ocean. So the field of play manager has to prepare, for example, all the equipments, marks, boats, radios, communication, has to interact with public policy, federal policy, immigration, etc., safety, also to prepare the local race management team for that particular game. So in summary, is a local PRO without authority over the race management. This is the best definition of a field of play.
Right. Well, it sounds a very all-encompassing role, that one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so next one, you're chair of the Race Officials Committee, World Sailing. And how many do you have on that board there?
The Race Officials Committee has 16 members. 4 are the chairs of the subcommittees, because under the Race Officials we have 4 subcommittees, international judges, international measures, international race officers, and international umpires, plus 2 working parties that are in charge of technical delegates and international classifiers. So all this community is under the Race Officials Committee. Each of these subcommittees have an average of 8 to 9 members, and then they report to the Race Officials Committee with 16 members.
Okay, right, it's a full-on role. So how many meetings a year do you have?
I would say weekly meetings, because sometimes we have the full committee, other times we have with a particular subcommittee, and we have many meetings with the staff, world sailing staff, because Race Officials Committee is in charge of a lot of activities, and part of the activities are related to the staff and the board. For example, budget for education is something that we manage with the board and with the staff. So we have many meetings. It's a daily, it's not a work, but it's a daily. You have to at least 3-4 hours a day to provide a good service to the community, no?
No, that's absolutely full on. Yeah, well done. So I was just looking at the other, you're the Olympic technical delegate for 24. And I suppose your work's already started on that, has it?
Yes, I started last February in contact with the staff, because World Sailing has an Olympic manager, is a staff person, and also events director. These 2 persons, they work 100% of the time for the Olympic Games and The Hague. The Hague is the next Olympic Classes World Championship. So we started last February, and then for the games in Paris, we have each Monday a meeting in between us with the 2 staff members, plus the technical delegate and the vice president in charge of the games, and also a meeting with the 3 chiefs, because there is a jury chair, principal race officer, and equipment inspector chief. So we have a weekly meeting, and also meetings with Paris 2024 organizing committee, because they are at full speed at this moment. Because people does not know, but 1 year before the games must be ready. So we must be ready next July.
Right. And so next year must be very busy. You're going to lots of places next year.
Yes, next year, yes. We have the test event, Paris 2024, and I also have to go to other events that qualify for the games. we call continental qualifiers events. I also go to Princesa Sofia in year, the Olympic French Sailing Week as the PRO, and also to the Pan American Games in November. It's another Olympic qualifier. Africa qualifier will be in Egypt or Tunisia, and Oceania qualifier, but it will be a pity that I will not go to the Oceania because one of the staff members of World Sailing is Australian, so he will go. I would like so much to go to Australia.
Okay.
So a lot of travels next year. Yes.
That would be absolutely wonderful. I suppose, what would be a message for all of our race officials here? I think you've touched on it a little bit earlier in regards to our customers, the sailors. But any other words of wisdom from somebody who's done so much and has got a lot more coming up? So we'd love to get a bit more insight from you. But any thoughts on that, Riccardo?
Yes. Keep motivated. Do your job, volunteer, and try to learn as much as possible. Try to understand our sport, and we never know. Perhaps in the next Olympic Games, one of the attendees maybe can be international, or we will not know. Perhaps in 10 years, 15 years, one of the attendees will be at technical delegate. So please keep motivated and trust on yourself, because the way is open. Okay, there are a lot of opportunities. Okay, if you understand the sport, if you understand our, I call clients, the sailors, the community, you will be a very good race official or officer, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. I'll ask for any of the other panel, Pete or Leslie, if anything else to ask Riccardo, but it's been absolutely fascinating.
What are the priorities for world sailing for the next couple of years that might affect our community here? What's on their to-do list for the next couple of years?
Yes, the key goals for world sailing, I'm talking about race officials committee, okay? The first one is always the same, is education of race officials, to promote the new generation, to build the new generation of race officials, to change a little bit the profile of the race officials around the world, because at this moment we have the majority in 2 or 3 continents, and then we understand that we need more race officials around the world. The second key point is not only to educate race officials, because educate means clinic seminars, and then you bring people in the game, but we must also follow these people, promote them. So the first point is education, second point is education. And there is another point, very important, is technology. We must understand that our world has changed, and then technology for race management, for judging, for umpiring, we must change for that side. We must apply the technology that we have, because we have now classes, very high-speed classes, and it's really difficult for a race official to follow, to adapt. So we are thinking on put technology for race officials, make available, like video, drones, and other technologies, tracking, to assist race officers, not to replace, because I don't think that we will replace race officers, race officials, but we need to provide them more technology. So these are the 2 goals, okay? Educate race officials and give more opportunity for race officials from, we say, underserved areas where we have few ones, like, for example, Oceania, Africa, Caribbean, and Asia, and South America.
The high-speed classes you mentioned, we've got, I think, 3 classes at Sail Melbourne, which are foiling. That introduces a higher safety risk. What are your thoughts around how to deal with those?
Yes, you are totally right. Okay, one of the impacts the high-speed classes brought is on safety. Yes, and it's not only due to the speed, but it's also due to some kind of sailing those classes have introduced. So it's not a concern for the race officials committee, but also for the medical commission in World Sailing. Yes, this is a key point, okay? Apart from the technical part, because of obvious high-speed classes, for example, now we have two classes, kites and IEQ foil at the Olympic Games, reach starts. So introduces a technical issues, not how to manage the starts, but safety is much more important, okay? Because it's not only to make available for them safety resources, but on the speed they need, okay? Because sometimes we are on the field of play, and the field of play is very far from shore. So the problem is not make available resources, but also the speed we do that and the way we manage, okay? So yes, you are right, okay? Safety is a high concern, okay, at this moment for us in race officials, if we talk about racing.
Thank you, Riccardo.
For me as a South America, oh, who is that guy? And then I am from south of South America, no? Who is that guy? Yes, and then I had to fight on a good way to find a place and then to open the door to other race officers here in South America. Now, World Sailing is appointing some race officers, some race officials, okay? But it was not easy also because usually it's they are close, Europe, they are close, and then it's easier for them, but should not be an excuse, no? I think should have an exchange, no? I will send one, and then you send me one, and then yes, I think this is the best way, no? We will appoint one from your country, so please take this one to promote, you know, because if it's the only way to keep people motivated. It's the only way. Okay, when they realize that the door is closed. I am instructor, no, World Sailing instructor for race officers last 12 years, and the most common question people ask me, Riccardo, why should I try international status to run races in my club? I don't need that. Why? Because they know that it will be difficult to have opportunities. When people see the door is open, they are motivated. They keep doing that. So this is the most important point. Open doors, give opportunity. This is one of my discussions inside World Sailing. Give opportunity, not only run a seminar and then an exam and then okay, a CV. Now you are international, and then they forget the person. There are good race officials in many countries that now we are working to have more. For example, World Sailing, one of the goals is IOC 2030, 50-50 men and women. No, we are struggling to find women in some countries. Why? Because they do not see opportunity. This is for me. This is the key point: opportunity. When people see, in 10 years I can go to Olympic Games, but the reality is not that, no? Unfortunately, yes. My first Olympic Games was in China. I was a McLear. Yes, I was McLear at that time. And that time I was worried. I'm not sure they will appoint me to London. And then why? Because I was from South America. Yes. There are, for example, in our country, there are many good race officials, judges, or race officers. How many World Sailing knows? I'm not talking about the name, because the name is on the site, easy, but how many we know in World Sailing? Few ones. This is difficult. Yeah, this is motivation. Motivation and opportunity. Without motivation and without opportunity, no matter how much an M&A or World Sailing puts in terms of money, we will lose people, okay? Because as soon as they realize that they will not have opportunity, motivation gone, and then it's a pity because we lose good race officials, okay? Yes, very good ones. But we are trying to change, okay? I think it has changed a little bit last years, okay? We do not know how long we will stay here. At this moment, only 2 more years, no? Because at each 4 years there are elections. But in this term, we are pushing very hard, okay, to give opportunity to people not only from Europe or from the Americas, because they do not need, because they have a lot of events. But for example, in Australia, how many world championships? In New Zealand, in Oceania, in South America, it's difficult. And then when we have one world championship, 3-4 measures, 3-4 race officers, they have to fight to be there because they need that event to renew. And then at the end, they kill each other because one will get the event and the others will not get. We should give opportunity to those. I'm talking about world sailing, okay? I'm not talking about Australia Federation, obviously not. Talking about committees, race officials or race management, it's totally up to the MNA to propose people at the elections, at each 4 years. The MNA, the candidate proposes him or herself, and then the MNA recommend or support. Okay, we see very few from Australia. Okay, you could propose more. So this is one point. The other point is to give opportunity to the Australian race officials outside Oceania, outside Australia. I think the easiest way at this moment, obvious, push world sailing to a point is one point. But I think that the easiest way at this moment would be exchange. Make contact with, for example, make contact with the big sailing weeks in Europe. For example, Sofia, Kiel. Okay, we will send one race official, and then in exchange, we will host one from your country or something. You will see that they are open. Okay, these events, they are open. They're, because most of these events, they are not world sailing appointed officials. Okay, they are appointed by the organizers, and then for them. They will appreciate, okay, and because an official from another country is always welcome, because it brings more to the event. No, for example, if you have a sailing week in Europe with all officials from one country, so I think the 2 points, okay. One would be obvious, world sailing. We are here. We have good race officials. Please don't forget us. This is obvious. But this is political, no? This is M&A, strategic, and yes. But the other, in my opinion, the other option, okay, is this way: make contacts. Okay, so sometimes we think that world sailing knows the person, but world sailing does not. Okay. Because it's a very small group of world sailing officials that goes to the major events, no? And also the classes, no? The classes play a very important role, because usually the classes have their own group of officials, and then it's a matter of contact the class. Oh, we have here a national race officer with potential to be international in 2-3 years. He or she passed the exam. Took the seminar but need experience. You have the World Championship, that country. Would you consider to appoint him as one more? Okay. There are classes that they have development programs. For example, the Opti class, IOTA class, we have a development program for officials there at the last stage to become international. We offer opportunity at our events as a deputy, as a second course rep or something like. So this is the way. Okay, it's not an easy way, because yes, the sailing world is Eurocentric, unfortunately.
Thank you very much, Peter and Steve, and also Riccardo, for your time. It's been a pleasure to meet you via video, and just give us an insight of you as a technical delegate with World Sailing and what you do, and some of the updates of what's going on at World Sailing. So from all of us, thank you for joining us, and we will share this at our South Melbourne Race Officials seminar that will be held on the 15th of January. So I'm sure the room is normally packed with around about 80 people joining us to learn the new trends of what's going on. So we really appreciate your time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity, okay?
Oh, our pleasure. Anytime. You're most welcome to join us, and we hope to see you in Australia at some time in the near future too, please.